I did some terraforming, and then I asked you guys what I should build here, and I got a grand total of three responses. And one of them was, and I quote, Tesla coil, which somehow was the most liked comment. Thanks for the suggestion, but respectfully, no. So, on to the other two suggestions. One was to do a flower garden or lighthouse. The other was to build a seaside tavern with horses. I'm just going to assume that means stables. But which to choose? Both. Both is good. Basically, as soon as I decided to do both, I decided that I was going to do them both as one structure. A lighthouse mashed up with a tavern. With this cool idea, I kind of got to sketching the idea out, and basically as soon as I started sketching, for some reason my brain decided that this lighthouse was going to be largely in ruins. Why, you may ask? Well, simply put, this is not a seaside. This is a river. The initial video where I kind of described this project didn't really show that well, so both comments probably thought this was an oceanside. But you know what? I found that idea funny. We're doing it anyway. With our idea solidified, we can get on to block palette. The lighthouse itself is probably going to be most of these mossy stones over here, and then we're going to be building the main part of the tavern in these browns, woods, and this kind of creamy shade to give a little bit of contrast to the grays and the greens of the landscape. And then the roof here, once again, a little bit mossy, a little bit on the greener side, a little bit of teal from the copper to tie in to the landscape around us a little bit. But first things first, ruined lighthouse time. The issue I'm running into here is that I'm basically trying to taper this off, kind of like how a lot of real lighthouses do. And to do that, you kind of have to slowly narrow it. And the problem is, if I narrow this further, it's very difficult to do circles in Minecraft sometimes. If you narrow this further, you start running into the issue where the transition starts looking really sharp. But if I leave it like this, and honestly, I don't mind this look, but the issue is every single exterior block is a wall, which means my options for texturing get significantly reduced. So I'm going to try and figure out something different here. After way too much effort and about 3 scrap designs, I ended up scrapping the entire tapering design and just went for a straight, completely untextured, boring cylinder. With the logic that we're going to be ruining this anyway, we're going to be adding a lot of texturing, a lot of detailing. And honestly, the only point of this is to be a sort of focal point that's just taller than the surroundings. And honestly, this is going to achieve that once we get to work here. So let's get to the actual fun part of building instead of moving circles around for almost half an hour. With how simple this is shape-wise, a lot of the visual interest in this is going to come down to doing this texturing and how I'm doing this. I'm doing a lot of moss here, you know, working with lighter spots up where the sun would be hitting it first, adding some green gradients, adding some breakdown, using these tough stairs on the windows to make it look like it's cast in shadow like it would be in real life, and just doing a bunch of detailing with these wood beams that make it look like the lighthouse mostly collapsed, but there's still some standing remains of what it once was. It is now 5 days and 1 TwitchCon Rotterdam later. I've got my new builder's cape to show for it. That was awesome. And we also got a new look at the next update coming after Chaos Cubed, during which they announced new wood type, bunch of leaves, and the wool stairs and slabs, which I'll be doing a video looking at that and talking about my thoughts on those new blocks. But this is awesome overall. What annoys me is that we're getting green wool stairs, which would have fit perfectly in this gradient, right now. Right when I can't use them yet. So now I'm just sitting here being like, yep, they would have fit better here, but whatever. Moving on, we've got more work to do. We've got this lighthouse mostly done, and now I've got the tavern somewhat outlined with wool, at least the floor plans here, and we're going to get started on building that now. One of my main goals with this entire tavern was to make it feel very thrown together, a little bit rickety, make it just entirely look a little bit sketchy. And honestly, that resulted in a lot of trial and error with the framing of this entire thing, because it was kind of difficult to make it look good while also making it look thrown together. It's just a very delicate balance with a lot of framing. You can see I used some oak logs here to make it look a little worn, barrels to make it look like there's just bands holding it together, some crooked beams all over the place, and just giving it a kind of thrown together look. It was around now where I took a step back and looked at the roof and realized it looked terrible. yeah, this gradient is not going to work, and I'm going to replace it with something else by the end of this build, but just stick with the process, you know, trust me for the time being as we work on literally anything else and I try to figure out how we're going to fix this. In the meantime, filling in walls, adding details, you know, all that kind of stuff. You can see I did it a lot here, using gradients instead of just making a simple dark to light, using them as shadows and as tricks of the light. You can see I was using birch here under beams, under the roof line, just to make it look like they're casting a little bit of shadow on the walls, and it gives the entire build a little more depth and a little bit more feel that it actually belongs in the world. In an unrelated note, diagonal builds are still the bane of my existence, and I'm probably going to do some dedicated research to learning how to do this and how to make it better, and I might make a video on it so you don't have to suffer like I do. Honestly, this might be the single wonkiest build I've ever done. There's not a single line straight or lined up. It feels like everything's at a slightly different angle. Even this little outcropping here for this like dormer effect is a little bit curved. It's all a little bit weird, and honestly that's kind of the vibe I was going for. You know, you wouldn't have a perfectly good tavern built on a ruined lighthouse that's built on a river for some reason. And I know that of the two of you that are still watching, that's probably at least one of you going, but the stables, he hasn't built the I'm building the stables, calm down. I'll be honest, this entire concept was born out of me having absolutely no inspiration and no ideas of what to build, and honestly, this did help break that quite a bit, and I now have a bunch more ideas that I'm going to be hopefully turning into videos and putting out for you guys. So thanks for the help, and if you have an idea for what you want to see, do let me know down below. Alright, with the stables done, I believe we have satisfied all conditions. We have a tavern, we have horses, 2 of them, we have 2 whole horses and stables for them, and we have a lighthouse, albeit a little bit ruined and definitely having seen some better days. But with that, honestly, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. If you have any ideas on what we should develop this project into, honestly, you can see I've got plenty more space and plenty more time to implement your ideas. So if you've got any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.